Have you ever considered working in China or traveling to China, coming to visit one of the historical sites? Well, today's video is about a survival guide for when you are coming to China. Good day everyone. Firstly, I will touch on the intangible attributes I think you will need when you come to China. And then secondly, I will list 8 tangible things that you will find very useful when you are traveling to China. So let me get into the intangible things. First of all, China has got more than 50 cultures. It's approximately 55 different cultures. So let me get into the intangible things. So you are in for a culture shock because the Chinese do not eat the type of foods that we do. However, there are a lot of international restaurants and food outlets like your McDonald's, your Burger King and your Pizza Hut. And then for coffee you have Starbucks. That being said, there are things that you simply have to experience for yourself, and in order to experience this or to become used to this, you will need to have a thick skin. On our first morning after arriving in China, my wife and I sat in the dining room, and then we started hearing this sound. So this was people drinking their soup. Now, I'm a very tolerant person, and not all of you out there are very tolerant. So that can be a cause for a very high irritation. But if you live in your own home, it might not be such a big of a problem. And not all Chinese are like this. Some of them have become westernized, and some are still very traditional classic Chinese. So you will need a very thick skin. Secondly, there will be challenges. Yes, you will get a sense of celebrity feeling in the beginning. People will treat you like you are different. That's just the way the Chinese are. But eventually this effect will subside, and then you will experience the true Chinese. To give you an example, what's your level of personal space? Is it there? Is it here? Is it here? Because maybe if you will become a teacher, you need to become used to this. In your face, like people are right here, like the kids are like in your personal space, and I'm okay with it since they are very fun to play with. But for some people it might not be okay. Spitting. People spit on the streets. Unfortunately, that is true. I heard the stereotyping. It might not be as frequent anymore as a couple of years back, but from the videos that I've heard, people spit, and it's true, but it's not as frequent. The Chinese are not racist. I don't know how to put this. This is a very touchy subject. Racism still exists. The Chinese are not overall racist people, but there is a tendency amongst recruiters that they prefer white people over black people when teaching English. even in modeling, I have experiences of this myself. I have proof of it. If in case anyone wants to argue with me, I'm more than okay to produce my evidence. But it's true that there are racism, but this is very subtle in terms of selection preferences. But in terms of racist remarks and comments, I've never been discriminated against in terms of my skin color in a daily life. That has never happened. I've never been called any racist words. That doesn't happen. So it's only in terms of recruitment. Some people believe that if they have white employees, the parents of the schools will see the school as a more elite school. Another intangible thing that you have to get used to is the weather conditions. China is very big and there's very extremes on the one side and on the other side. It can get very cold, it snows, and it can get very hot and as in very humid. It can get like in South Africa what you would experience in a place like Durban. So it gets very humid. Another intangible thing is noise pollution. Because there are constant construction, I don't think my camera is picking it up. At the moment I'm counting on that side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's more. 12, 13, 14, 15. It's countless. Even that side. There are a lot of cranes. So there's a lot of construction going on. Are you willing to be disturbed by noise pollution? So this is a reality that you have to deal with. Otherwise, it's okay. So in this video that I make, it is assumed that you have a smartphone and that you will be purchasing a Chinese mobile network SIM card. So the smartphone is applicable to almost everything. Oh my word, I was just video bombed.
You ever just get tired of being where you are, Adrian? You want to be a monument to physical perfection? You want to be a shrine? You should be.
I waited, time went by, all I could do was cry, silly.
So in this video, I assume that everyone in this video will have a smartphone and a SIM card that they've bought in China in order to get network reception, because almost everything involves an application of some sort. Any other stuff you need for a survival guide is basically when you come to China, the first and most important thing is to get a translator. Your Google Translator is good, but Google is banned, so you will need a VPN. If you don't have money to purchase a VPN, then I suggest you get Baidu Translator, which will get you from A to B. The second important one is a survival tip, because you won't be able to communicate in English yet, and people don't understand English. It's a rare find for people to speak English and proper English. So even if you do find people that speak English, you can be from where in the world. They might not be able to understand your accent, even if you are very British or very American English. They might still have difficulty to understand because the cadence at which you speak might be too fast for them, or the way you are grouping your words. You might be grouping 4 words, chunking them in a sentence, where they are conditioned or accustomed to two words that are grouped. You will understand this for yourself once you begin to study Chinese, how your mind is grouping words. Then you will get their perspective of what it's like to hear English. So back to the point. So you will need a GPS, and I can warn you up front, do not use Google Maps. You will see your fucking ass like my wife and I did. We got away with using Google Maps for like 2 weeks. Then I don't know if you've heard, but the Chinese have banned Uber. So they are using Didi, and they have local taxis. So if you usher a Didi, they will call you, and if you are not able to speak Chinese, then basically they won't show up. So we use the meter taxis. And to indicate where we wanted to go, I used Google Maps, and the fucking thing was outdated. So imagine you have a meter taxi driving you, and your Google Maps is outdated, or Google Maps latest updated version doesn't even have the roads where you must turn left or right, and it's showing old roads that doesn't even exist anymore. That's how fast China is growing. So you will see your ass. So I suggest number 2, getting Baidu Maps or amaps.com. And what this app is successful at, it's showing you the metro bus lines, which is long distance travel. It shows the railway stations. It shows you if you take by bicycle or by motorcycle, the estimated time or the routes that you will be able to pursue. If you take the bus, it will indicate the bus number or the different options you have. Yeah, the different options you have. The different options you have for taking the bus or different buses. Most Chinese are friendly. I think 7 out of 10 will be able to help you if you have trouble taking a public bicycle and you're struggling with your OFO app or your other rental bikes, then they will be able to help you. Okay, number 3 on my list for survival in China. The means of communication in China is not WhatsApp. WhatsApp is banned. WhatsApp is banned. In the rest of the world, WhatsApp seems to be #1, or Facebook Messenger. Facebook is banned through the Great Wall of China, the Chinese firewall. So we use WeChat, and this application is off the fucking chain. You are able to send money. It's got built-in apps. You can like you would use Facebook or Google to register new applications. You will be able to use WeChat for that purpose. You will be able to scan QR codes, and equally important, it's either still on number 3 or number 4, but I will list them equally. So it's for communication purposes in case you struggle. Number 5 is you need to pay things. You don't get to use your bank card every day. Okay, I'm traveling on the metro. It's the only time I ever use my bank card. People scan with QR codes. Alipay it's probably #1, 2, but because you will be new, the other means will be first priority. But once you are accustomed to China, or you've been here for a while, then Alipay will probably be at the very top. You can see that is still frozen. First time I see people on the riverbank. Alipay will pay for your meter taxis. You will use it in shops, every single shop, even the ones like in South Africa, the Somali shops, the small tuck shops. Every single shop has got the Alipay platform. Even the older generation is using Alipay. You won't need a car. It's a very rare find, because the trains, most of them go up until 11 o'clock. If you are in a remote village, I think the buses are traveling 18:30 in winter, the latest. They have rental bikes for yen. I don't know if you pay per hour. I don't care, it's so cheap. Doesn't really matter. I don't think I've been charged more than yen. Okay, another important one to remember is, because 99% of people coming to China for the first time won't be able to speak any English. So that is not a problem. By the time you've received your contract, you will still need to get your visa, and in that time while you are waiting, you can start prepping yourself to learn some Chinese, the basics. You can download Chinese skill, Infinite Chinese, and Hello Chinese in no order of importance. My main app I'm using is Hello Chinese. It's got Immerse, it's got games, the lessons, and then I use other games to do Pinyin, and I use the other apps to Pinyin, play games. It gets 8 SK. I get more Immerse lessons, and then I think all 3 of these applications have got in-app purchases, but because because you are so new to Chinese, it won't make sense to go for lessons. I will only suggest after you've attained fluency that you go for lessons, because you will waste your money. The best time to study Chinese is first thing in the morning when you wake up, and to review before you go to bed, because then it means your mind is running it in the subconscious, doing it while you are sleeping. So that's the best way to get it stuck into your head. And language at this age, because you are a full adult, you don't learn it, you attain it, because you already have a language that you've acquired growing up. So you building on that infrastructure that is in your mind. I think the value of the smartphone is probably the most underestimated asset you can have in China. Yes, the accountants might say this is a liability because it loses value. Let me tell you, every single means I've mentioned before, you will need a smartphone. You will need email, you will need WeChat, because you will be in a WeChat group with your employer, your fellow colleagues and your friends, and maybe an expat group. So to recap, and in the order of most importance, at number 1, I have a translator, and I strongly recommend Baidu Translator. At number 2, you need a GPS, and I recommend Baidu Maps. Thirdly, you need WeChat. At number 4, you need Alipay. Number 5, if you don't have a laptop, it's not a train smash, but if you do have a laptop, then good for you, because you are going to need a laptop with English installed on the laptop, because if you are going to buy a laptop in China, it will come with a pre-installed version of Chinese, and trust me, there's a lot of rigmarole that's involved with converting the Windows to English. It's not impossible, it can be done. I've done it myself on 2 occasions already, but it was a struggle with my wife's laptop and both with the new laptop that I bought. Then you will need a VPN. This is a virtual private network. There are many out there. There's ExpressVPN and there's Astro. At the moment I prefer Astro. At number 7, you are going to need Didi, because the meat detectors have a tendency to exploit if they see it's a foreigner or it's not accurate. One can say 20 yen and the other one can say 10 yen. So I prefer to use a Didi. And then lastly, at number 8, this is at number 8 for a reason, because it's not as important, but if you are a person with nitty-gritty issues such as you get headaches or you pick up flu very easily, then I suggest you bring with flu medication from your local country, because the Chinese medicine are not as strong as what you might be accustomed to your country. Take in mind that they are not as big as people in South Africa or in the USA, so the doses might be smaller because of the weight and because of the size. And thank you for watching. I had to cut this video short because I am going on a business trip to South Africa on Sunday, and I'm already leaving on Saturday because I have to take a bullet train to Hangzhou and then sleep over in Hangzhou. So I couldn't go into much detail for number 7 and number 8. So thank you for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe.